If your face stays where it is, it's gonna get punched.
Actually, on your right-hand side are stages 41 and 42. Those were used in Good Girls, starring Retta, Mae Whitman, and Christina Hendricks.
Is worth more in Scrabble tiles. Uzo Aduba or David Oyelowo? Uzo Aduba.
Hollywood Game Night, hosted by Jane Lynch, is filmed inside of Soundstage 44 up here on your right-hand side. Now 43 and 44 have been used in Coach with Craig T. Nelson, Parenthood, also with Craig T. Nelson, Angie Tribeca starring Rashida Jones, and one of my favorite shows, The Good Place, starring Ted Danson and Kristen Bell. You'll actually see a poster for The Good Place on the outside of stage 44. Now the beauty of these spaces is we can build whatever sort of world on the inside that we want, so they're really cool spaces for us in Hollywood. But if you hang a look over to your left, you're going to get a quick celeb sighting. We got Ted hanging out here in front of our production bungalows. Now, these tan buildings on your left are used as offices for writers, directors, and producers here in Hollywood. And as we move through this area, keep your eye on the parking spot signs. You'll see some famous names like Robert Zemeckis, and he brought us Back to the Future and Forrest Gump. Jennifer Lopez also works among our bungalows because she's doing World of Dance here on the lot. We also have Marc Platt Productions, and they produced La La Land. So a lot of cool parking spot signs in this area, but keep in mind, these bungalows used to be scattered over the lot and used as dressing rooms for stars like Doris Day, Rock Hudson, Jimmy Stewart, and Lucille Ball. Now that was back when an actor would sign a contract with a studio and work exclusively for them for sometimes 7 years in a row. So these bungalows are really more of a home away from home for the stars of the golden age of Hollywood. Now coming up on your left is our most famous bungalow. Keep your eyes peeled for bungalow 5195. Right out front is a silhouette that belongs to the famous previous occupant of that bungalow, Sir Alfred Hitchcock. Now he worked out at bungalow 5195 when he was doing Alfred Hitchcock Presents here on the lot. But of course he's the master of suspense, known for Psycho, Rear Window, Vertigo, and The Birds. And we're going to see a little bit more from Hitchcock as we move through the back lot. For now, take a look on your left. These are some of our newest sound stages. This is 22 and 23. Stage 22 has been dedicated to the revival of Will and Grace, and 23 has been used in I Feel Bad, executive produced by Amy Poehler, but they were first used together in December of 2016 for Hairspray Live with Ariana Grande, Kristen Chenoweth, and Jennifer Hudson. Now that production also filmed in the sets you can see ahead here on your left-hand side. These are our backlot sets, our metropolitan cityscapes, and some of their most filmed streets in the entire world. And they are currently booked today, so that's why we're not going to take you on through there. But as we move forward, you are going to get a glimpse of our New York Street, which is actually pretty incredible. We've used it for blockbusters like Transformers with Shia LaBeouf, Captain America, The First Avenger, The Amazing Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield, and Fate of the Furious. Now keep in mind, TV shows film out here all the time as well, like Chuck, Criminal Minds, Castle, CSI, The Mindy Project, How I Met Your Mother, The Good Place, Will and Grace. Even American Ninja Warrior has set up that insane obstacle course right over there on New York Street. So definitely take a look at it. It's an awesome area here on the lot, but we have a lot of awesome areas to show you here on the studio tour, so we're going to keep on moving. In fact, next, we're going to go chat with one of my favorite directors, Mr. Peter Jackson, who brought us the 2005 version of King Kong.
It's the original King Kong that made me want to direct movies. I saw that movie on TV when I was about 8 or 9 years old, and I wanted to become a filmmaker. Action! I like films that just take you away from your real life and sweep you up an adventure. Kong literally does that. I mean, you're on board the ship, you're sailing to a lost island, you're encountering monsters and creatures from, prehistoric times. So I was thrilled when Universal invited me back to Skull Island, and it's great to have you along for the ride. Now, we have created this 3D immersive experience, so you're going to have your glasses ready. Don't put them on yet, but just have them in your hand because we're about to return to Skull Island. The Universal tram is winding its way through a very rough, narrow trail in Skull Island, allowing the visitors a little sneak peek at some of the wildlife of Skull Island. In a sense, this is like a mini sequel, a mini continuation. We're just taking the Kong and Skull Island and the dinosaurs that we established in our feature film And this is, another day, another incident on Skull Island, using the creatures and the character and personality of Kong as he appeared in the movie.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, take a moment to secure your loose articles. This will be a bit of a bumpy ride, so please remember to remain seated at all times. Now feel free to take photos and video, but do it without the flash. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Skull Island.
Okay, glasses on, everybody. We're back in Skull Island.
just survived one of the world's largest 3D experiences. Those screens around us were 180 feet long, 40 feet tall, and that was all brought to you by Peter Jackson and his team at Weta Digital. Together they won 6 Academy Awards for their work on The Hobbit, The Lord of the Rings, and The Jungle Book. You've also seen their work in Wonder Woman and Deadpool. Now do hold on to those 3D glasses, we will be using them again. But for now, here's a little bit more about the production of King Kong 360 3D.
With a project like the studio tour, the audience is in the middle of the environment. They're looking in all directions, there's creatures coming at them, they're seeing Kong from this side and T-Rexes from the other side.
Working on a movie, we always know where people are looking. They're looking straight ahead, they're looking at the shot that we're working on.
Here you have to take into account that people are looking in all directions.
Also, one of the things about this ride, unlike the movies that we're used to working on, there's no cuts, because it's one giant shot. This tram that's driving along through Skull Island is where the camera's from. This ring represents where the screen is 10 meters away.
We're really creating about 50 minutes of a feature film. That amount of visual information, that number of pixels, and presenting them to the audience, because it's a hell of a ride.
Now, one of my favorite moments in King Kong 360 3D is when that T-Rex grabs a hold of our tram and then pulls a tram car into the animation. As soon as our tram car showed up on the big screen, it transformed into what we call a picture car. Now that's really any vehicle used in film or television, regardless of whether or not it will actually be moving in the scene. And what we're going to do next is check out some famous universal picture cars. So you're going to want to get those cameras out and ready and point them over to the left-hand side. Now remember, everything in Hollywood is fake, so check out that Magnum PI Ferrari 308. That's not a real Ferrari. That's actually a VW engine on a dune buggy frame with a fiberglass Ferrari shell on the outside of it. The Flintstones cars here, hate to break it to you, not foot-powered. Those are modified golf carts. Got some Fast and Furious vehicles, and they pretty much built the entire franchise around those picture cars. We're going to check in with them a little later on. My favorite picture car is the gyrosphere from Jurassic World, which is missing a pretty important feature. The glass on the outside, which was never there in reality, was computer-generated imagery. We got a tank over here from Transformers, which looks amazing, but it shouldn't go anywhere near battle because it's mostly made out of plywood. Here in Hollywood, it doesn't need to be a real tank, just needs to look close enough like one, and a lot of times painted plywood does the trick. Now keep those cameras out and ready because we will see a few more picture cars, some set pieces, and props, this time from one of my favorite trilogies ever.
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
Now these items are going to be scattered on either side of the tram, so definitely look around. But coming up on your left is an important picture car called the Mobile Lab Unit, and it was featured in The Lost World Jurassic Park. Now in that movie, there's a scene with a dinosaur pushing the Mobile Lab Unit off of a Costa Rican cliffside. Now that cliffside was actually played by a parking structure here on the front lot, and we used a crane to dangle our Mobile Lab Unit off the side of it. Now that wasn't too difficult to achieve because the Mobile Lab Unit, which is here on your left-hand side, is similar to the tank from Transformers. It too is mostly made out of plywood. Now look closely as we pass by. I'm going to show you the clip on your screens, but also you might want to keep your eyes peeled for some of our dinosaurs. Alright everybody, take a look at your screens and I'll show you the Mobile Lab Unit scene from The Lost World Jurassic Park. Now there's so much movie magic here. Just first off, remember that's our plywood vehicle. And it is being pushed over the side of our parking structure. You can really film anywhere here on the front lot, back lot, even City Walk. It just takes a little bit of this movie magic. And now that you know this was filmed in Los Angeles, I want you to notice the weather. It is raining in this scene, and rain does a lot to heighten the mood. For something like this, the only thing scarier than running from a dinosaur in the dark would be running from a dinosaur in the dark while it's raining. But in Los Angeles, we don't get a lot of rain naturally, so if you need it for your scene, you do have to create it. And in our next location of Old Mexico, we're going to demonstrate exactly how that's done. So on this beautiful March day, we're going to whip up a thunderstorm on cue. Now we're going to start things out with our thunder and lightning, done with our speakers and our strobe lights, and we're going to set the mood here. Beautiful. Now, take a look to the left-hand side into the set and see if you can find where the rain might come from. Here's your hint. Look above your natural eye level, what will be just out of frame for the camera, and we'll cue rain. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. This is how we do rain in Hollywood. We shoot water up in the air through a sprinkler system and just let gravity handle the rest. But if you're trying to get photos or video of the rain, you may notice it can have a hard time showing up on camera. Productions used to add powdered milk to the water to make it more opaque. But nowadays we make these droplets about 5 to 10 times larger than natural rain, so to collect more of the professional lighting as it falls back down to earth. Right now we don't have that lighting set up, but you'll notice it's a lot easier to see the rain in these sunny spots versus some of the shadier... Uh-oh. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please hold tight, remain in your seats. I think I triggered a flood. And there you have it, everybody. That's a controlled natural disaster. Our flash flood effect is achieved by having thousands of gallons of water in tanks at the top of the hill, ready to be released whenever we want. Don't worry though, the water is recycled. It goes back to those tanks in about a minute, so it's ready to be used again for tape 2. Now this part of Old Mexico you've seen a lot of. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Peru for Indiana Jones, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. This was Tortuga for Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl, used in Jack Black's Nacho Libre, as well as The Three Amigos, with Chevy Chase, Steve Martin, and Martin Short. So it's a wildly popular area for us on the lot, but we're going to leave it behind to take you into some of our historic sets. Ladies and gentlemen, this is 6 Points, Texas. Now these are our Western sets, and Westerns used to be Universal's bread and butter, especially back in the silent film era. At which time we had 6 different Western streets out here, and each street was equipped with its own bank, saloon, and sheriff station, and we would film 6 productions simultaneously. We don't make movies like that anymore, but we still use these sets in classic Westerns like My Little Chickadee and Destry Rides Again. It's also used in modern day productions. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a turn-of-the-century Australia for Disney's Saving Mr. Banks. It's been used in The Color Purple with Oprah Winfrey and Ben Affleck's Live by Night. And we're very excited to finally be able to tell people that this is where Quentin Tarantino filmed his latest movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. If you actually Google the trailer of it, there's an interview bit right at the beginning, and they're sitting right here in our 6 Points, Texas. It's very identifiable. So a lot of stuff films here, but of course over the years all kinds of famous cowboys have moseyed up and down these streets like John Wayne, Jimmy Stewart, and Audie Murphy. Now, as we head out of 6 Points, Texas, take a look on your left-hand side. You're going to see a few more sound stages. Now, this is where Jordan Peele filmed his latest movie, Us, in some of those sound stages. So very exciting stuff. You'll also notice a white picket fence and a couple of sort of activities over there. That's where Amy Poehler and Nick Offerman are filming their show, Making It. But I want to point out the little body of water you're seeing. This is called Park Lake, and it's been used as the mighty Mississippi River for the movie musical Showboat. That's where Norman Bates stashed his victims in Psycho. That's played the entire Pacific Ocean for McHale's Navy, and it's also the Black Lagoon from The Creature from the Black Lagoon. Now that movie was a part of our monster movie history. So productions like Frankenstein, Dracula, Bride of Frankenstein, The Wolfman, and The Invisible Man from the 1930s filmed in the little tan sets you're going to see on your left-hand side as we round this corner. That's an area called Little Europe. It's actually one of my favorite spots on the lot. Unfortunately, it is closed today, but it's for a very good reason. And that's because they're currently setting it up for season 4 of NBC's The Good Place with Ted Danson and Kristen Bell. So Little Europe plays the afterlife, and you can see it on your screens.
You, Eleanor Shellstraw, are dead.
Cool.
This location, the afterlife, come on. I have never ever seen this.
You're in the good place.
I'm not supposed to be here. I can't risk going to the bad place.
Maybe it's not all that bad.
Hi there. How can I help you?
What is the bad place like?
Well, it doesn't sound awesome.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we are now taking you inside of Soundstage 50. And instead of an empty warehouse, what we're going to find in here is what we call a hot set. Now that means it's fully dressed, ready to go. We're pretty much just waiting on the director to come in and call action. And you'll notice it's designed to look like an underground transit station. And right now we're set to be in San Francisco. And you can tell by the signage around us, right? On your left, our stop here is Embarcadero Plaza. You'll see maps of transit stations, and it'll say things like Golden Gate Park and SFO Airport, or the super not subtle sign up here at the front that just says, "Welcome to San Francisco." Just a little tremor. It happens occasionally. Loves it. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this might be a little bit more than a little tremor. Please hold tight. Your seats. Let me get the earthquake. That was created for you with large-scale mechanical effects. Now, typically those effects are used in big disaster movies, but that very same soundstage was featured on an episode of Bones that aired on Fox, starring Emily Deschanel and David Boreanaz.
What's going on?
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm feeling a little bit guilty for putting you through back-to-back natural disasters, and you're here just to have a good time.
There's Amity Island.
Jesse and I decided our next stop is going to be in the most relaxing spot on the lot. It's the small New England town called Amity. Now, some of you may have heard of this town. It has had a little bit of a shark issue. But please don't panic. You'll notice on your right-hand side, we fished that dangerous shark out of the water. So it should be perfectly safe today. So sit back, relax, take in all the beautiful views here at Amity.
Felt
Okay.
good. Oh, look.
I don't want to alarm you guys, but it appears we have a huge fin out there in the water. No boy, it looks to be headed right for our diver.
Oh my goodness.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Okay, I apologize, everybody. I didn't want you to have to see anything like that. Please do not worry. You are all perfectly safe here aboard the tram. In fact, for just a moment, we're going to hide the tram behind this pier full of all of these flammable gasoline barrels.
You like it?
Does anyone have eyes on the shark? Where's the shark?
Laura's coming.
Alright, everybody, say hello to our giant mechanical shark from Jaws. His name is Bruce, and he's named after Steven Spielberg's lawyer. That is a true story, Bruce the shark. Now, he works beautifully for us on the studio tour, but when they were filming the movie Jaws, the mechanical sharks gave the production an incredibly hard time. Now that's because they started testing out the mechanical sharks here inside of Soundstage 21 in that large concrete pit, which they filled with fresh water. And he looked beautiful here. Problem is, they actually filmed the movie on location in the Atlantic Ocean, chock full of salt water, and on the very first day of filming, the salt water corroded the mechanical innards of Bruce, and he sank like a rock to the bottom of the ocean.
Isn't that funny?
That's a much maligned shark. The shark was frustrating. It didn't really work all the time. It didn't work hardly at all.
Wherever you were on the island, you could hear the radio waves. They were always saying, the shark is not working. Repeat, the shark is not working.
We just waited around. We just waited and waited and waited. The shark worked well enough for a while there, and everything is going on. So I really owe the shark a lot.
Now we're headed to the residential area of the lot. If you look to your left, you're going to see a mustard-colored house with a green roof. That's Boo Radley's house from the classic To Kill a Mockingbird, starring Academy Award winner Gregory Peck. Jennifer Love Hewitt lived in that same home for Ghost Whisperer. That's our Elm Street neighborhood. On your right-hand side at the top of the hill, you'll see a White House. This is called the Chicken Ranch, and this is a type of set called a practical set. So that means they can film on the inside and outside of the White House. Now there's a whole different type of set built right next door. You're going to see a little yellow structure. That's just the front and side of that home. That's a classic facade, and that was simply built there to give the Chicken Ranch the illusion of being in a neighborhood. But in Hollywood, we truly only care about what the camera's going to see. So if you don't enter the neighbor's house, you don't need to build the whole thing. Now we are going to take you down our most famous neighborhood. Ladies and gentlemen, we call it Colonial Street, but you guys may better know it as Wisteria Lane, home to ABC's Desperate Housewives. They did film all 8 seasons right out here. The beige and white house on your left was home to Gabrielle Solis. If you keep looking to your left, the lilac house was home to Bob and Lee. Keep looking to your left and you're going to see a little yellow house that was home to Miss Susan Meyer. On your right-hand side, there's a blue house that was home to the perfect housewife, Miss Bree Vandekamp. And finally, on your left, the gray house was home to Lynette Scavo. Now, if you are a Desperate Housewives fan, you may be thinking, these homes don't look the same as they did on the show. You're exactly right. But keep in mind, first and foremost, Universal Studios is a rental facility, and we want to try to rent out this street to as many productions as possible without you guys recognizing it when you see it over and over again. So these homes have undergone a lot of changes over the years. In fact, the one that's probably the most prominently changed is all the way at the end here at the cul-de-sac on your right-hand side. That's where Edie Britt lived on Desperate Housewives, but it's the main set for a brand new show premiering this coming Thursday. It's called Abby's, and it's produced by Mike Schur, who did Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Parks and Rec and The Good Place. So if you like those shows, definitely keep your eyes peeled for Abby's. It's premiering this Thursday after Will and Grace on NBC. On your right-hand side, the gray house was used in Bedtime for Bonzo with U.S. President Ronald Reagan. The brown house on your left was Mike Delfino's from Desperate Housewives, but it's also repeatedly used in Ace Hardware commercials. On your right-hand side, the yellow house was home to the Hardy Boys before Terry Hatcher moved in. The green house on your left is from the Leave It to Beaver movie from the 90s. My favorite house is the lilac one now on your right, which was 1313 Mockingbird Lane, home to the Munsters. The beige and white house was used in the classic movie Harvey, starring Jimmy Stewart. And as we exit Colonial Street, over on your left-hand side, first off is a light green house, which is the Nancy Drew Mysteries house, followed closely by the dark green house, which was home to Matlock. A lot of times when productions film on Colonial Street, they take one house at a time, so it can be hard to tell that's where it is. If you want to see it featured as a full neighborhood, go back and find the movie The Burbs with Tom Hanks. Very clearly our Colonial Street in that movie's a ton of fun. In fact, you're going to see a little clip of it on your screens. There's The Burbs. Now, we can use Colonial Street for movies, TV shows, music videos, and commercials because it's designed to look like a blank canvas neighborhood you could stumble across anywhere in America. Our next spot, however, is a little bit more specific.
You're the one, Mr. Grinch.
You're as cuddly as a cactus, and as charming as an eel, Mr. Grinch.
Oh, there it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Whoville. You're looking at Martha May's house and Cindy Lou's from Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Now, to get the Seussical shapes to these sets, they used a lot of styrofoam. In fact, it was about 2 million linear feet of styrofoam.